Why hello there. Yesterday I talked about AJR's ridiculous slant rhymes, and today I want to talk about Taylor Swift. As usual, no surprise. Comes as no surprise, I get it. I'm posting videos every single weekday. I'm also posting special content on Patreon. It's $5, which is less than a latte. So please become a patron. I'm also producing people's demos right now, so please email me at internetjules@gmail.com if you're interested in letting people hear your songs but you can't play instruments and getting help achieving your vision so that you can show your songs to people. So it's no secret that Taylor Swift is literally one of the greatest songwriters of our generation, if not the actual greatest songwriter of our generation. If that comes as a surprise to you, then you should go listen to her entire discography and slap yourself in the face while you at it. So the purpose of a bridge is generally to add some kind of reflection or some kind of conflict resolution, clarification of the story you're telling in the song. Basically to make it so that it's a bridge from the verses and the chorus into the last chorus that in some way reframes, refines, or resolves the story. So listening to Taylor Swift bridges, I have put them in 3 categories. They don't all fit perfectly in these categories, but most of them do. Almost all of Taylor Swift's bridges add some kind of twist to the story of the song. And I've analyzed it as 3 different kinds of twists. The first one is a twist that changes the narrative of the story going forward. It provides some new present moment information that escalates or changes the story so that the last chorus has a different meaning and the song as a whole has a resolved narrative. The second kind of Taylor twist is when the bridge reveals that the story was always different than you thought it was, clarifying the narrative and setting it up so that the last chorus can clarify that narrative even further. So the bridge reframes the entire narrative of the story so that you can understand it going forward. The third kind of Taylor twist is when the bridge reveals this authentic, desperate emotion or some concrete details that make you realize the story is true and is real and give this extra emotional punch to the last chorus. Instead of it being a hypothetical song about feelings, it makes you fully understand the emotional and concrete reality of the story, therefore making the last chorus even more impactful. So let's talk about the examples. First, a narrative resolution or action within the bridge that changes the story going forward. Obviously, the best example of this is Love Story. I got tired of waiting, wondering if you were ever coming around. My faith in you was fading when I met you on the outskirts of town, and I said, Romeo, save me, I've been feeling so alone, I've been waiting for you, but you never come. Is this in my head? I don't know what to think. He knelt to the ground and pulled out a ring. Ah! Said, marry me, Juliet, you'll never have to be alone. I love you and I talked to your dad. Go pick out a white dress. It's a love story, baby, just say yes. So that changes the entire direction of the song. The entire plot turns around in a positive way by that action happening and that fantastic key change. Ooh. Also, Fearless. The bridge is, well, you stood there with me in the doorway, my handshake. I'm not usually this way, but you pull me in and I'm a little more brave. It's the first kiss, it's flawless, really something, it's fearless. That action of the first kiss is part of the storyline that affects the actual narrative. It's an actual action that progresses the narrative of the story of the song. Another one is Betty, when in the bridge, he actually goes to the house and stands at the doorway and makes this action that changes the future of the song, or changes the way that he feels and changes the way that she feels potentially. I also put White Horse, but looking at the lyrics, even though there's an action being made in that bridge, she said throughout the song that she's over it and she's done and it's too late for the white horse to come around. But then she actually makes the action to make that a reality in her life by turning him down when he comes to ask for forgiveness. So it doesn't actually change the plot of the story, but in the last chorus, she leaves the town. And so that's an action that changes the plot of the story, and the bridge sets it up for that to happen. So I think that that would still fit into this category. The second Taylor twist, the bridge reveals that the story was always different than you thought it was. And so the last chorus has way more impact because it reframes the entire narrative. I would put Invisible String into this category. I think that it clarifies and reframes the concept of the invisible string, because she goes into detail about how the string pulled her away from all the wrong things and kept her on the right path to finding him. And so then when you read that into the rest of the story, it reframes it to clarify the narrative of the song. A string that pulled me out of all the wrong arms right into that dive bar. Something wrapped all of my past mistakes in barbed wire. Chains around my demons, wool to brave the seasons. One single thread of gold tied me to you.
So freaking gorgeous.
Also, my friend brought up the fact that chains around my demons, that's a string. You know, that's something that holds things together and keeps things away. Wool to brave the seasons. Wool keeps you warm, but it's also something that you make thread out of. So it's another string. Everything is just wrapped up in strings and it's so freaking beautiful. This bridge also sets it up to talk about how she's not bitter about her past, because that gold string was the thing that kept her with him and moved her away from all the bad mistakes she's made. In the last chorus/verse, the cold was the steel of my axe to grind for the boys who broke my heart. Now I send their babies presents. It reframes the whole song, because it's not just like, oh, it's you and me against the world. It's like, I forgive everything that's happened in my past because I know that I was always meant to be with you, and all of those things that happened in the past are the things that brought me to you. Last Great American Dynasty. Such a good song. This is a really strong example of this type of bridge, because the bridge literally reveals something that reframes the entire narrative of the song and makes you understand what the song is actually about, which is Taylor Swift's house that she bought and the people who lived in it before her, and the symmetries between their lives and her own life. She's the loudest woman this town has ever seen, and she had a marvelous time ruining everything, just like Rebecca. That is like such a powerful moment though, because you're like, oh, well, this is an interesting song. I wonder why she's singing about this. Huh, weird, interesting. And then it gets to the part where she says, 50 years is a long time. Holiday house sat quietly on that beach. Free of women with madness, their men and bad habits, and then it was bought by me.
Ooh.
Changes the last chorus to who knows if I never showed up, what could have been. And it just reframes the entire narrative of the story and the purpose of it. I have chills right now. I literally have chills right now. The first time I heard that song, I was like... Another example of this type of bridge would be Getaway Car. So this is a past action. It's not a love story where that action is present and that's what changes the song going forward. It just reframes what happened in the past of the song that made the song what it is. I'm in a getaway car, I left you in the motel bar, put the money in the bag, and I stole the keys. That was the last time you ever saw me. And also the 'cause us traitors never win reframes the purpose of the song. Don't pretend it's such a mystery. Think of the place where you first met me. You understand the fullness of that idea because of the bridge. Mine is actually kind of in the middle of the first two categories, because it reframes the story because it's talking about something that happened in the past, but it also escalates the story with an action. I remember that fight, 2:30 a.m., because everything was slipping right out of our hands. I ran out crying and you followed me out into the street. Braced myself for the goodbye, because that's all I'd ever known. But then you took me by surprise and said, I'll never leave you alone. And then that last chorus is altered to be from his perspective, and that kind of reframes the whole relationship to make it what it is. Also, Out of the Woods. Out of the Woods is talking about this vague relationship, are we out of the woods? And then it brings up this memory that gives a concrete example of them getting out of the woods and why that phrase means so much and why that feeling means so much to that relationship. The third category, a bridge that adds emotion or concrete details that make the story real, which makes the last chorus a severe gut punch. A lot of these bridges, my friend pointed this out to me today, they break the dam that's been held up by the structure of the song. So, for example, Death by a Thousand Cuts. It's very tight, it's very closed off, it's not as lyrically intensive, and then the bridge is just this fast-paced, lyrical overflow of concrete details and emotions that give this gut punch to the reality of the relationship she's talking about. My heart, my hips, my body, my love, trying to find a part of you that you didn't touch, gave up on me like I was a bad drug. Now I'm searching for signs in a haunted club. Our songs, our films, united we stand. Our country, guess it was a lawless land. Quiet my fears with the touch of your hand. Paper cut stings from our paper thin plans.
Ah, Tyler.
My time, my wine, my spirit, my trust. Trying to find a part of me you didn't take up. Gave you so much, but it wasn't enough. But I'll be alright. It's just 1,000 cuts. Cruel Summer. I love that song. The emotion of the bridge in Cruel Summer, like, annihilates me. Actually, I changed my mind right while I was sitting here. I actually think that Cruel Summer works in the first category because it's a present moment. I screamed, for whatever it's worth, I love you, ain't that the worst thing you ever heard? He looks up screaming like a devil. Screaming like a devil? He looks up grinning like a devil. That's a present action that changes the meaning of the last chorus. He looks up grinning like a devil. And the last two I could think of for the last category of gut punch emotion, the twist of the bridge is that it's real to Taylor Swift and it is fucking real to you too, is All Too Well.
Obviously.
Maybe we got lost in translation. Maybe I asked for too much, but maybe this thing was a masterpiece till you tore it all up. Also, Illicit Affairs. I think Illicit Affairs is actually my favorite bridge of all time. I remember the first time that I actually heard that bridge when I was really listening to it. I think I cried and I get chills whenever I hear it. The whole song, you could think that it's this, oh, like fun, sexy, illicit affairs, ha ha ha, it's kind of sad, but it's actually kind of sexy also, ha. But when it says, and you want to scream, don't call me kid, don't call me baby, look at this godforsaken mess that you made me. You show me colors you know I can't see with anyone else. Don't call me kid, don't call me baby. Look at this idiotic fool that you made me. You taught me a secret language I can't speak with anyone else. So there's just some ways to understand and analyze Taylor Swift bridges and how she resolves, revisits, or refines the narrative within the bridge. Bridges are called bridges for a reason. They're not just there for you to walk over. Let me try that again. Bridges are there for a reason. They're not just there for you to continue on doing the same thing that you've done the whole time. They're there for you to add a distinctive idea that moves the narrative forward or makes the narrative mean something different or better. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel. I post every single weekday. Listen to my album and tell me in the comments what songs are inspired by Taylor Swift. Please become a patron if you want to learn how to produce and write, and hit me up if you want to make a demo. Have a good one, Brother Bears.